Welcome to Marisi Pet Care. This is an at-home edition. What I thought I'd go over today was a few basic things that most dogs, if they learn these things, they're going to be easier to manage. They're things that I learned with Betty in her obedience classes, and I doubt that they're doing very many obedience classes right now with all the virus that's out there and all the lockdowns they're doing. So we're at home, we're comfy, and we're going to do a little bit of basic training. Now my Border Collie knows all of these things already. We practice from time to time. My toy Chihuahua, he likes to play dumb on a lot of things, but he is very trainable. He's just a little stubborn. And so he gets treats, and he's 13 years old, so I don't make him do a whole lot for them. But the Border Collie, she works for it, and she's happy to do it. So I hope you enjoyed this. The easiest way to teach them how to sit, which is one of the first things that you learn in a basic obedience class, is to hold, come here Betty, is to hold a treat over their head, and their butt will go down. Come here Betty. Come here. Sit. Good girl. And I've been working with Eddie, but he doesn't like to have to work for his treats. He likes to just get them. Down. Eddie. Come here, buddy. Sit. So we're going to work mostly with Betty. Now, the second thing that they teach you in obedience class is down. And the easiest way to teach a dog to lie down is to go down. And Betty likes that one. Most dogs won't do it that quickly, but if you hold the treat to the ground, they will go down eventually. One of the important things to remember when you're teaching any command is don't repeat the command, thinking that, if you say it 3 times that they're more likely to do it. What ends up happening is your dog doesn't know English. So they don't know that the command isn't sit, sit, sit. But if it's just sit and you wait and then give them the treat, they learn that, you only have to say it once. If you have a habit of repeating it over and over again, the dog thinks that the repetitive phrase is the actual command, and you don't want that. Down. Eddie, are you feeling left out? Come here, buddy. Come here. What I'm feeding them now, too, these are just cut up little sweet potato fries. And so they're very low in calories. If you have an older dog like Eddie, who we have to keep him trim and fighting trim for his best health, you don't want to give them high-calorie snacks, and my dogs love vegetables. Another favorite that is fairly low-calorie is, one of the favorites of mine is Trader Joe's has these little square liver chunks, and they're dehydrated liver, and I haven't met a dog that didn't love them. So if you have a Trader Joe's near you, the liver chunks are wonderful. Sit. Usually the first 3 things that I like to teach a new dog is sit, down, and stay. Today we're going to work on sit and down. How about you, Eddie? Do you want to sit? Come here. No? I'll give it to you anyway. Sit. Good girl. A lot of people mark this with a clicker. If you don't want to, I don't always have a clicker on me, so I'm old school. I just say good girl. But a lot of people will replace the phrase yes with a click, and as long as you mark the action, I think you get the same result. Down. Do you want to train too, Eddie? Come here. Come on, buddy. You want to sit? Down. Betty is so smart that when I first got her, she was a rescue, and I brought her home, and she learned sit, down, and stay the first night I had her. Maybe the second night. I may have given her a couple nights to settle in, but the first night that I practiced training with her, she learned each of those, and it took her less than a minute for each command because she's a Border Collie and she's very smart, aren't you, Betty? Sit. It's important that you practice once in a while, even if your dog knows these commands, because they'll forget. Down. probably, aside from come, because you definitely want your dog to come on command, yeah, that can be a lifesaver. But another important thing that I think all dogs should learn is leave it. Leave it is an excellent thing to teach. I'm going to work with that on with Betty right now, because if you're out on a walk and there's something nasty or a poisonous, if there's some of those little palm fruits or roadkill or who knows what else that you don't want them putting their lips on, the stinkier the better as far as the dog is concerned usually. So you definitely want to teach them leave it. Or if you just have a sandwich on a plate and you want to be able to walk into the kitchen to get, a glass of water. You want your dog to know what leave it is. Betty knows what leave it is. The way that I taught leave it was I showed her a treat, put it on the ground, leave it. See, she knows. She's not even looking at it. But the way that I did that in the beginning was I would leave that treat out and she would go for it. So when she goes for it, you cover it up. You don't let her have it. And then after, a period of time that you're satisfied, good girl. She knows she's going to get a treat from somewhere else. But she knows that whatever I tell, nope, leave it, leave it. She knows that whatever I say to leave is not for her. She may look at it, she can stare at it all she wants with her border collie stare, but generally speaking, she's pretty good about it. And she learned pretty quickly too. The easiest way to do it is if you're standing, you can just put your foot over it, or put your hand over it, and then just give her a treat from somewhere else. Leave it. See how she looks away? She knows she's not going to get that treat. Good girl. See, she's not even looking at the treat. She knows that if I say leave it, that's not for her. And that's what you want. You want them to lose all interest in something that you've said, leave it. I mean, she knows it's still there. She's still wondering about it. But she knows it's not for her. That's a good girl. That's a good girl. No, it's not yours. Leave it. See, that's a good girl. You're such a good girl. Now, Eddie, on the other hand, he doesn't think leave it applies to him. Sit. Down. There are some fun variations you can teach them after you teach them sit and down. From here, you can teach them how to do a crawl. Crawl. And just practice that. The more you practice it, the better they'll get at it. Crawl. And from a sit, you can teach them how to beg. Beg. Betty is especially good at that. She knows that she is about as cute as she can be when she's in the beg position. And so sometimes when she really wants something, she'll assume that position. Beg. That's a good girl. Another really easy thing to teach them is a spin. Spin. And, you just use a treat and circle around with them. Spin. Eddie, do you know how to spin? Spin? Oh, you did it. Good boy. Good boy, Eddie. See, spin is easy. If I can get Eddie to spin, you can get pretty much any dog to spin. 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 Good boy. Good boy, Eddie. He gave us an extra one for that one. What are you doing? What are you doing? Another thing you want to keep in mind is when you're doing training sessions at home, keep them short. Usually 10 or 15 minutes is enough. Dogs have a shorter attention span. And you want it to be fun for them. 10 or 15 minutes, a few times a week, and you'll have a dog that does whatever you want it to, pretty much. Unless it's Betty, and one of the things that she doesn't want to do is walk nicely on a leash. I am still working on loose leash walking with this dog. Say that 3 times real fast. She's a border collie. I was warned when I got her that they're not great on leash because they've been bred to herd sheep and cattle and livestock and live on farms. And I didn't believe it. I thought that cannot be true. I've seen all these. Get your nose out of my pocket. Leave it. Leave it. I'm telling a story here. So, I didn't believe it. And, you know, even the trainer at her obedience class had a little Aussie who was the best behaved dog I'd ever seen in my life. So I thought that I could teach her loose leash walking, and I'm sure I can. I'm sure it's me and not her, but we haven't mastered it yet. She's very patient with me. I haven't figured out the way to get her to do it. I've done the be a tree. I've stopped. I've changed directions. I've had treats in my pocket. When I have treats in my pocket, she's pretty good. But as soon as I give her the treat, she goes out ahead of me again. And I am sure that it's me and not you. I know it's my fault because I haven't been consistent enough with you. But, you know, I'm giving myself a little bit of grace. She's a wonderful dog. We still go for lovely walks. She's not perfect, but then I'm not either. So it's okay. So I just thought I'd give you a little at-home training session with her and show you some of the things that you can teach your dog pretty easily. I'm actually really surprised that Eddie spun for us. I've never tried that with him before, but apparently he likes the sweet potato fries. Eddie! Oop, I don't have any more. You better stay where you are. That's it. All done. All done. Who's a good girl? Who's a good girl? Ooh, she got me good. Are you a good girl? Are you a good girl? She is a good girl. You're a good girl. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. Yes, you are. Who's a good boy? He's a good boy. And you're a good girl.